Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It's me, Joe Pisapia, with me today for some mock draft action. Kelly Kirby, the wonky penguin, Joe Orrico, and Scott Bogman. We're all here on our Twitch, twitch.tv/FantasyPros. That's the place to be, live here where you can watch, interact. Now, we will be doing some of these with our audience too, so make sure in the days or even hours or right now in the minutes ahead, you subscribe if you're watching here to our Twitch so you could be a part of the next mock draft that we do. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, Fantasy Pros MLB. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. This is our second mock together as a group. I like that we exclude Welsh from this. I like this is the way to go. And it's our second in a row where Kelly and Scott are together. And Bogman, this time you took the 1 spot. And Kelly didn't go 2. I think she went with the 3 spot, if I'm seeing this correctly. So she's giving you a little bit of breathing room. Do you think she's just mocking you?
Yes, of course I do. And I am considering a late jump here just to get away from Kelly, but I'll stick at 1. I haven't had a draft in the top 3 picks yet, so excited to see what this looks like.
And Kelly, you had the honor of meeting Scott Bogman in person. Is that the reason why you like him now after meeting him in person at our team meetings, that you gave him just that 1 spot breather between the two of you to give him just a little bit of a berth here in this mock draft?
Yeah, I mean, I met him. He changed my life. He's the sweetest guy. So I thought I'd give it 1 more slot, which just gives me more time to make fun of whatever he just did.
There you go. Joe Orrico, you are here. What spot are you deciding to draft from today?
I'm in the 5 spot. I want to take one of those elite bats up top. It's not ideal with these other 2 yokels being right beside me at the top here. I know we're going to be sniping back and forth the whole time, but I want to get one of those elite bats. So I did a last-minute switch from 6th to 5th.
All right, so last minute switching around here. Again, we're using our Draft Wizard software. So if you haven't already, go to fantasypros.com /draft wizard here, and you can go ahead. You can get all of the mock drafts you could possibly handle using the draft simulator. Better yet, just download Draft Wizard to your phone and use that. Use the app. It's way faster. It's way better. And of course, we'll be doing a 5x5 head-to-head categories. It's your standard 5x5. So you got batting average in there. You've got hits, home runs, runs scored, and home runs. You've got wins, you've got ERA, you've got whip, you've got saves, you got strikeouts. We got all of those things, and we're going to start the draft. I took the 12 spot today, so we're going to go ahead and see how that goes at the other turn. I want to say I was the 1 last time, and I took Ohtani up there, so I'm going to make it a little easier for myself. Boggs, I assume you're going to go with Shohei Ohtani here as well. But a quick question for you as we're waiting for the draft to begin. If Ohtani is split up as 2 different players, is Ohtani still the number 1 for you overall, or would you pivot to a Judge or someone else?
I think he's still number 1 to me, but I think the argument between him and Judge, I think most people would probably want Judge for the batting average. So it's still close, but a guy that can go 30-50, you kind of have to take the devil. So
there you go. All right, so the devil's off the board here. Shohei Ohtani goes first. Aaron Judge at 2. Kelly Kirby, you're on the clock for 103.
Yeah, as much as I want to take Jose Ramirez because he's just so heads and shoulders above everyone else. I can't pass up Bobby Witt. There's just no way. So, I'm going that direction.
But what is the defining factor there? I mean, when you look at Jose Ramirez and the power totals there, certainly you can make the argument for Jose Ramirez still.
Yeah, you totally could. But I just can't pass up the idea that Bobby Witt could make one more leap and Jose Ramirez could possibly start to slow down a little bit. I'm gonna roll with Witt at 3. Any later than that, I would have taken Ramirez.
All right, let's recap the rest of these picks here. So after Bobby Witt at 103, Juan Soto at 104, Jose Ramirez goes, and Ronald Acuna to team 6. So let's talk about Jose Ramirez going to Joe Orrico. Sorry, Joe, I was so excited for all these picks. You went at 105, so let's talk about your pick of Jose Ramirez there. Kelly passes, you take it. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to move up here, take one of those elite bats. Not that I would have been hard-pressed, if I ended up with Tarek Skubal. It's not the end of the world, of course, or an Acuna or a Carroll or whoever, but taking Ramirez there, walking in what should be 30-30 with a good batting average at a pretty terrible position as well. I don't have to think about third base again for quite a while until we start filling those corner infield, maybe utility spots. So I like just not having to worry about those kind of problem positions if I can take care of them early on.
All right, and remember, we've got 4 outfielders. We're doing corner infield, and we're doing middle infield spots. We got 1 utility spot as well in this here as we go through our positions of the lineup. After Acuna at 106, Therese Skubal, Corbin Carroll, Paul Skeens at 109, Ellie De La Cruz, Julio Rodriguez, and I get 2 picks here at the turn. I'm not taking Kyle Tucker. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do it. It's bad mojo to the start of my team. I'm going to go ahead and do something. Again, this first time drafting from the 12 spot. I'm going to take the corners and see how that goes, because we've been doing these ultimate guide shows, and lately, I got to tell you, it feels like it gets dark out at night very quickly at the corner spots. So I'm going to take Junior Caminero here with the third base eligibility there, and I'm going to take Vladimir Guerrero Jr., friend of the show, friend of Joe Orrico. So we got him there. So we'll take the corners and see how that goes. Sure, I'm going strictly power here. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to find some stolen bases a little bit later. We'll see how that works out for me in this strategy as we go on. Garrett Crochet goes off the board next at 202. Then Cal Raleigh, Fernando Tatis, Kyle Tucker, Gunnar Henderson coming off a down year. Nice value there at 206. Kyle Schwarber at 207. Joe Orrico, you are on the clock.
Yeah, I am debating between a couple guys, but I'm going to end up taking Jackson Chourio here. Still so young. The skills are honestly incredible from what we've seen, only at 21 years old, back-to-back 2020 seasons. And even though he missed more than 30 games last year, it was still 21 and 21. He hit 270, 88 runs. It's a great lineup in Milwaukee, and no one ever gives them enough credit. And I think he can take another step forward and be potentially a 30-30 guy this year.
All right, so Jackson Chourio possibly on the upswing there. Incredible value. I was thinking about taking Lindor down where I was. Lasted all the way to Team 4 in round 2 at the 209 pick. Kelly Kirby, you went with Jazz Chisholm at 210. A volatile piece, right? But certainly one that has 30-30 potential again to repeat as he did in 2025.
Yeah, I don't typically find myself drafting him, but by passing on Ramirez, I'm like, Jazz having second base and third base eligibility just kind of puts it into, like, again, those two positions are just ugly. So if I can get somebody that could cover both, I'll roll the dice on him, but not overly love it. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you've got 2 30-30 guys to start off, so that's not a bad situation. Nick Kurtz goes 211. Scott Bogman, you are on deck here for 2 picks. With the first of your 2 picks here, the end of the second round, you took Pete Alonso, and then you homer, you went 301, Ketel Marte, but I can't argue with that. That's what I did last time as well.
Yeah, I hate second base this year.
It's bad.
So if you can get one of those elite guys between Jazz or Ketel, I suggest to do it. Obviously, first base is, taking Pete Alonso at any point, I think is fine. Lots of pop. Lots of RBIs, all that good stuff. Ketel, I actually prefer Jazz, but Jazz went 1 pick ahead of me. So I was kind of debating there, but get second base, get it taken care of, and now I don't have to worry about it.
All right, doesn't have to worry about it, folks. Okay, so after Ketel Marte, the third round kicks off here with Zach Neto. Christopher Sanchez to you, Kirby, here at 303, the ace of the Phillies, who's really going to have to be the ace of the Phillies, especially with Wheeler's health in question this year.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of pressure on him, but I was writing some expert notes the other day, and I was just like, there's the big 3 pitchers. And I mean, I said that Sanchez is about as great of a consolation prize as there probably could be. So I just don't trust the Dodgers and what they're going to do with their pitching. So that's why I didn't go with Yamamoto.
All right, Joe Orrico, you are up next here after Sanchez. Yamamoto goes next, and then you select Trey Turner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's talk about Turner in 2026.
Yeah, we have our first snipe. Kelly got me there on Sanchez. I really wanted Sanchez, but pivot to another Philly, another guy who gives me that power speed base to go along with a still really high projected batting average. I'm keeping all 5 categories intact on the hitting side here through the first 3 rounds.
All right, so first 3 rounds, we've already kicking through here. After Trey Turner, Yordan Alvarez and Pete Crow Armstrong, Manny Machado at 308, James Wood at 309. I was hoping he would make it to me. He did not, unfortunately. Hunter Brown at 310, Edwin Diaz at 311, and I am now on the clock. Here are some of the names on the board, suggestion names right now. We got Bryce Harper. I don't think I want to go there. I've already got first base filled up. Or I could pivot to pitching here with Chris Sale, who's certainly had some injury issues, but my goodness, last year was so good before he got hurt. I thought he was going to be the Cy Young last year. Do I want to wait one more round to go pitcher? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and start plugging around the outfield a little bit here because I like Roman Anthony a lot, and I'm going to be bullish on him. It's telling me to take Brent Rooker over him, but I'm going to go ahead and take Roman Anthony because I just believe in the player. Looking at the middle infield too, a bounce back season for Mookie Betts is certainly one that you can sell me on. I don't think he was healthy at all last year. He had that weird issue. He was losing weight last season. I know it was a down year for Mookie Betts. I know he's 33 years old, but I'm going to bet on that bounce back and take the value of Mookie Betts in the middle of the infield. So all hitting for me. I'm going to wait on pitching one more round. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. So after I took Roman Anthony, Mookie Betts, Brent Rooker goes off the board, Bryce Harper, Logan Gilbert, Matt Olson at 405, Brian Wu at 406, Rafael Devers, and then Joe Orrico went pitching. Cole Reagans is the ace of your staff at 408. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, Cole Reagans is my guy this year. I've talked about him a lot. I think he is probably my most drafted pitcher to this point. When you look at how good he was below the surface last year, because I know that if you look at the mid-4s ERA, you're not going to be blown away by that. But out of every starting pitcher who threw 60 innings, he ranked first in strikeout minus walk rate, first in expected FIP, first in Sierra. He's entering the season healthy, and I think he's one of the best values on the board.
Okay, so Chris Sale goes next at 409. Kelly, you've already got Bobby Witt, Jazz Chisholm, Sanchez. So 2 hitters, 1 starting pitcher at 410. Who's the next addition to the Kirby field?
Well, I really wanted Rafael Devers because I think I might be higher on him than pretty much everyone that I know. But again, it's the same idea that that those corner spots are just so ugly that I'm gonna take the chance on an Austin Riley bounce back.
All right, so Austin Riley bounce back. Look, nobody's higher on Rafael Devers than Rafael Devers. Never forget that.
That is true.
Also, Max Fried at 411. Scott Bogman goes for 2 here. One of the selections is going to be a pitcher here, Hunter Green of the Cincinnati Reds, and then outfielder Wyatt Langford. Green, a breakout season last year, Boggs. You just got to go 30 starts. That's all you need from Green. And Wyatt Langford in the second half starting to, I think, realize some of that potential we've been waiting on. And look, he is still just 24 years old, and I think some of us get a little crazy or a little impatient waiting for these guys to really become the best versions of themselves.
Yeah, and I don't have any outfielders yet, and obviously you got to stay on top of that. So went ahead with Wyatt Langford just to get an outfield because I don't want an outfielder because I don't want to be killed by depth. And my first starting pitcher, I'm just bullish on Hunter Green making it and being great. Obviously, the injury slowed him down last year, but the numbers were great. So like you said, Joey, let's just get him to 30 starts, and he's going to be, I think, in Cy Young talks. So
all right. Remember, you can always get cheat sheets, too, for the Draft Wizard. Make sure you're having whether the rankings of Scott Bogman, Kelly Kirby, Joe Orrico, myself, Welsh, or the consensus rankings, or a composite of all of them. That way you can go ahead and make all the selections you need in your drafts, and you can use those cheat sheets for your drafts when you sync your leagues for free at FantasyPros.com. So go do that so you can use the tools. Don't be a tool. Be prepared on draft day. Logan Webb goes next, and then Riley Green at 503 to Kelly Kirby. Riley Green, great season for him last year. Tigers with the big Framber Valdez signing last year. Riley Green, 36 homers, 111 RBI. Can he repeat last year's success, Kelly?
Well, according to our projections, he's going to come close. I liked everything about it. He struck out way too much. His walk rate dipped a fair amount, but his hard hit.
I'm sorry, Elmer. Could you repeat about the walk weight?
The walk weight was really cool. It was
plays
actually
for the Mawinas.
It was really. Yeah. So anyway, whatever, Joe. No. So we're rolling with. I'm trying to load up a little bit on the power up front, and I'm totally. I don't want to agree with Boggs, but I totally agree with Boggs that you got to get on outfield a little bit when there's more than 3 of them. So
that is fair. Boy, I made her. I got her in the rare mess up and admitting something positive to Scott Bogman in the same sentence. I'm just gonna.
What have you done?
Where's Kelly Kirby? Did you leave her in New Orleans? What's happening? All right, let's continue on here. The next pick, Jacob deGrom goes at 504. Joe Orrico's not happy about that. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. Last year he was Mr. Jacob deGrom, but I think this year he's a little bit more skittish. Bryce Terang at 505. Yesterday we recorded a great show with Chris Towers. We did the second base previews, and Bryce Terang was a very divisive figure on that show. So, Joe, talk to me about your take on Bryce Terang, a guy that ended up adding power, losing some of the stolen bases, and leaves everybody else trying to figure out exactly what version of Terang we're getting in 2026.
Yeah, I edited that show. I heard Welsh's slander, but I like Bryce Terang. I really like Bryce Terang. I think everybody's expecting that the power is just going to go back to 10 or 11 or 12 homers. With the gains he made across the board in the batted ball data last year and still being just 26, I think there's potentially even another step forward. He could be a 20-20 guy very easily, another guy with a good batting average, another piece of the Brewers lineup, kind of the unintentional stack there at the top, not really a season-long strategy, but it doesn't hurt as well. I just think he's a very well-rounded, another 5-category guy who plays. His first season was 137 games. Each of the last 2 years, 155, 156. So I think across the board, you're getting the 5 categories, and you're getting it with volume and upside as well.
Volume and upside. No, that's what people
And I
often
take
say
care of
about
second
me.
base, and second base is just a dumpster fire.
It certainly is, but it doesn't mean you should make a pick just because. If Bryce Terang ends up being a 12 and 25 guy this year, again, there you can find that.
Aren't you the RPV guy?
I am, but Bryce Terang to me is Bryce Terang last year was one of my big stayaways in the Black Book. I was and of course you can go pick up your Fantasy Black Book on Amazon right now. All the contributors basically in this room talking to you. It just updated for February 1st too, so it's brand new for you. But Terang was an entity that I didn't believe in too much. I thought, well, you can find stolen bases other spots. And I just didn't believe that he could have more power. And then he added more power, but lost the steals. So it was a weird give and take. I'm also not 100% sold on what I'm seeing from Milwaukee this offseason either. So again, he's a entity for me. I think at 5th round, it's all right.
Well, what did you just watch? Sphere?
No, I've never seen Sphere.
With Entity?
I was more South Park, I was thinking, was the reference you were going to make. Randy Rosarena at 506, and then Mason Miller 507, the first big closer off the board. CJ Abrams, Freddie Freeman, Josh Naylor 510, Byron Buxton at 511. Then I went with my 2 starters, Freddie Peralta of the New York Mets. Ooh, it just, every time I say it out loud, it doesn't feel real. And then I went with Blake Snell. Now, it was telling me that, the highest rated guy there was George Kirby or Joe Ryan, but I'm going to take the guy in the Dodgers who has multiple Cy Youngs instead. I know last year was a disappointing year for Blake Snell, but we often get that. We get the disappointing years and the up and down years of Blake Snell, but when Snell is on, again, we're talking Cy Young caliber guy, and I think the win potential is off the chart for him. If this is quality starts, maybe I'd feel differently, but this is wins, so I'm looking for Mets, I'm looking for Dodgers, I'm looking for Phillies, I'm looking for those guys. Jaron Duran at 602, Jackson Merrill, Andres Munoz, Jesus Luzardo, George Springer. We'll see if he can repeat last year's incredible season at age 35. Cade Smith, Ben Rice, Joe Orrico, you selected here. There's rumors he's going to catch more this year. At first base, 26 homers last year, 65 RBI in 138 games. Let's talk about Ben Rice and that catcher, first base, and DH eligibility he's going to have.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing. I don't really care if he catches. Actually, I prefer that he doesn't, just to keep him healthier. Give him first base, give him DH reps. It's a little bit harder now with Paul Goldschmidt in town. It might take away some of his at-bats against lefties. But Ben Rice, I think, is already one of the better young hitters in all of baseball. If you're a StatCast guy or gal, go take a look at StatCast because everything is like 95th percentile or better. 15% barrel rate, 56% hard hit rate, good stadium, good lineup. And putting him behind the plate when I don't think he's going to catch more than 20 or so games. So even if Goldschmidt takes away some plate appearances, I still think we can see 500 from him. And from a catcher spot, that'll do just fine.
All right. Perdomo goes next at 609. And then I passed on Joe Ryan, so of course he ends up on Kelly Kirby's team.
Well, I mean, the Twins, there's plenty of win equity there. He might get to 4 or 5. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Sky's the limit.
I mean, that's the limit entirely. Yeah, no, I just really like Joe Ryan. I think that he is a consistent pitcher. He had his highest strikeout rate last year, I think, and his best ERA plus. I mean, he just is a workhorse when they use him as such. So I'm counting on 180 to 190 innings, and ignoring entirely that honestly, he's not going to help me in wins probably at all. But
okay, so not a help there. All right, let's continue on here. After Joe Ryan, Dylan Cease at 611, and then Bogman continuing to build out the pitching staff here. Spencer Schwellenbach, and then Johan Duran. Let's talk about those two entities, Scott Bogman, that you've added to your team. I think Boggs is on mute there, so we want to unmute you because it's easier.
Damn it! You're right. That's my bad. I don't know why entity got me so good there, Joey. But, I wanted Joe Ryan pretty bad, and of course Kelly took him because this is what Kelly does to me. This is why she's right near me here. But Spencer Schwellenbach or George Kirby were going to be fine consolation prizes. So I went with Schwelly for the upside, and then I wanted to get in on the closer market because I know they start to go pretty quick here. So maybe not as fast as they typically go in the drafts that I've done, but I know they're going to start flying off the board. So wanted to get one of the elite ones, and I think Duran was the last elite one left.
All right. And we are playing with 2 mandatory RP spots, too, just in case you're wondering at home what that looks like. Next up, Michael Harris at 702, and then Vinny Pasquantino, my people, find a home on Kelly Kirby's roster. Pasquantino last season in 2025, 32 homers, 113 RBI. It was a great season for him, and some changes to the dimension of that ballpark as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably maybe that's why I now have 2 Royals on my team. They're gonna move. They're gonna move that fence.
2 Royals and a Twin. What can go wrong here? Jeez.
Well, everyone knows the AL Central is a powerhouse.
Clearly,
so
most feared division in baseball.
Totally, not like the Tigers are gonna run away with it. But yeah, I mean, I like the possibility of him with the average, and again, I'm just trying to kind of lock down those 30 homer guys, and getting it at first base. Like my infield's taken care of, and now I can do some fun things with my outfield and pitching.
Yes, well, we all like to do fun things, that's for sure. All right, let's continue on here after the selection of Vinny Pasquantino, William Contreras, and then Joe Orrico. You took George Kirby, who I think you got a pretty good value on. He was looking to be gone probably by the end of the 5th round. Instead, you get him in the 7th, so that must feel pretty good, even though he did miss some time last season.
Yeah, I mean, I still think George Kirby is an ace. He missed time. The ERA numbers were not great, but below the surface, things still looked good. Command was still good, and the strikeout rate was the highest it's been at 26%. I just got a piece of breaking news across the timeline here, and this show will be posted today, so I won't go out of date or anything. Spencer Schwellenbach, 60-day IL, right elbow inflammation. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
There you go. I mean, you couldn't have told us that, 2 minutes ago for Scott Bogman? 2 minutes ago? You know, it's funny because in the Black Book, he is in the red flag section of the pitchers. So I don't have to update that.
Wow.
Because my section was the whole thing is hey, this guy had some arm issues last year. Everybody seems very okay. I am not. I said, I need to see a full healthy spring before I'm buying back in.
Well, you're not going to see it this spring.
Doesn't look like we're going to see it this spring, Scott Bogman. So look, obviously, hindsight is 2020. And Bogman, you are flying blind in this draft today.
That sucks. I see it.
Sorry,
it was announced, 4 minutes ago?
Yeah, just happened right now.
4 minutes. I mean, jeez. Well, look, if Schoenbach wasn't there, would you have taken George Kirby? We'll just put it that way.
I even said that when I was breaking it down.
Yeah.
I said I wanted Joe Ryan, but Kirby or Schwellenbach were still there, so I went Schwelly for upside. But obviously burned me here.
I'm sorry, Boggs.
Well, I don't feel like he's super sorry. Don't worry. I'll take care of it, Bob. I will avenge you because after Langoliers, Bradish, David Bednar, Cody Bellinger, Michael Garcia, Framber Valdez, I just took Bo Bichette on top of Vladimir Guerrero. So see what I'm doing to Joe Orrico, taking all his favorite things away from him so he can't have any of it. So Bo Bichette, again, I already have that spot, so he's going to go to the util. I don't care. He'll go to the corner, middle infield spot. Don't care. He's got versatility. High batting average is what I want. He's in a really good lineup here with the Mets too, so I'm very positive there. And then I've got a couple different ways to go, and I'm going to go with a bounce back. I'm going to go with Spencer Strider here, even though some other pitchers are ahead of him. Strider, to me, is just a little bit of a mechanical issue away from getting back to be that incredible strikeout artist. And as my 3rd starting pitcher here, I love the upside of what he can give me. We're talking about a guy who can lead the league in strikeouts. Last year, obviously, mixed results there for him coming off of Tommy John, but read a lot from the pitching coach, Jeremy Hefner, there about Strider, and he really seems to think it's just a couple adjustments away from him getting back to being that dominant guy. So we'll see. Hunter Goodman at 802, Corey Seager at 803, Alex Bregman, Soderstrom, Christian Yelich, and then Josh Hader goes right before Joe Orrico goes closer, and he takes Devin Williams. I see what you're trying to do, Joe Orrico.
Yeah.
I see. Sticks and stones.
Take my guys, I'll take your guys, Joe.
Yeah, I'll take your guys. I almost took he was one of the guys I was looking at. So
I just think it's a great value. A lot of the drafts I've done this year, he's been a top 50, top 60 pick since he signed. So it feels like a really good bargain. I know that people will look at what he did last year as a Yankee, but you got to look at the entire track record. He had been one of the most dependable relievers in baseball for his entire career. He had a terrible season, but all the supporting metrics were still really, really good. You're still looking at a 25% strikeout minus walk rate, good whip, good supporting metrics. And I think he's the closer for the Mets, and that could be 35 to 40 saves this year.
All right, so possible big save totals for Devin Williams here, now the New York Mets. Let's continue on with the next pick here. After Devin Williams, Eugenio Suarez back with the Reds, and then Kelly Kirby. I know you were on the clock, so we can give you a second to make your pick. You took Aroldis Chapman, so the closer's starting to fly off the board. I, of course, will punt closers because that's what I do every single year. And it's funny, I punted closer last year and I ended up with Aroldis Chapman, who is now an 8th round pick. So if that doesn't prove to you that you can wait on saves, even in a mandatory look, it's all about math, right? There's 12 teams. There's 30 Major League Baseball teams here, 12 in this draft, right? The math is 24 relievers are going to be used here for closers. You're going to find turnover. You're going to find injuries. I just like the investment more when it comes to hitters. And now that I filibustered enough, talk to me about why Chapman is a good pick here, Kelly Kirby.
Well, I think that just for this year, I'm kind of practicing drafting closers and not hating it, just because I also never do. And then last year, for some reason, kind of everywhere, I was just struggling with saves constantly. And it was like I didn't find them on the waiver wire. So I thought maybe lock one down and see what it feels like to waste an 8th round pick. But he's also, he's 37, so the wheels could come off at any time. But last year, the wheels were certainly on. So I'm going to give him another shot.
All right, last year the wheels were on. My wheels have never been on.
Nope.
That everybody knows that. Agustin Ramirez at 8-11, then Jeremy Pena, sneaky nice little pick there for Bogman. He had a nice season before the injury too, like 304, 17 homers there. Unfortunately, only 125 games, but he was really tearing it up. And then Boggs, you took one of my favorite things out of my queue, Yuri Perez, who is another pitcher I'm very much on this season. Last year, basically had a identical season to his 2023 breakout before the Tommy John. The numbers are almost identical, and Boggs, what's so fun when you look at it, the expected ERA is lower than the 4.25 he posted last year, and the 3.15 ERA he posted in 2023, the expected ERA was higher than what he actually posted. So I'm hoping for something in the middle and just keep giving me the same strikeouts when it comes to Perez.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of upside here, and obviously I need it because I'm going to miss a big chunk of the season with Spencer Schwellenbach, the majority of it. But Yuri Perez is on my radar regardless of who I have drafted before this because he's one of my favorite picks in this range. Jeremy Pena, look, I don't have a shortstop, and shortstop, a lot like outfield, is an arms race. You just have to stay on top of it. And if it wasn't him, I mean, I could buy, Dansby Swanson or Jacob Wilson or maybe a bounce back from Willie Adames, but I'd rather take, he's like the last one in my tier here. So went ahead with Jeremy Pena, like you said, expecting him to expand on that good year last year. And you get Jordan back in that lineup. Everything should be better offensive wise for the Astros for sure.
Everything's better with a Jordan in it. Nick Pivetta at 902, and then Kirby, you took Nolan McLean. I didn't think he was going to last all the way to me. It was between McLean and Strider for me. I went with the more proven entity of Strider, even though last year was less than thrilling. But to me, they're very close. So how do you equate those two? Because Noel McLean, obviously, great year in the minor leagues, was dazzling at the end of last year, but hasn't really done it over a full season versus a guy like Spencer Strider, who last year wasn't too great coming off Tommy John. You saw some flashes, but historically speaking, one of the best fantasy baseball pitchers, a guy who was going in the early second round just a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, I looked at the two entities, and I decided that the entity that I really entitized more was the young guy for the Mets. Yeah, he hasn't done it over a full season. I'm not necessarily knocking your Strider pick. I'm staying away from him for the most part, just because there were flashes, but I was not a fan of what he did to my fantasy team when he came back. But
yes.
Does anyone know, does Yuri Perez still have an elbow, or did Boggs do it twice? Or
No, Yuri Perez is okay.
Okay.
This is
cool.
This is the Schwellenbach entity draft. That's how it's going to be known.
Yeah,
Can
so
we
I'm
label
very
it that
happy
way?
with my entity.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Jose Altuve goes at 904. Joe Orrico, you took Kevin Gossman. So Gossman, another steady Eddie in that rotation, adding another arm for you. Coming off a year with 189 strikeouts and an ERA in the mid-threes.
Yeah, that's kind of what he does. Every year he punches close to 200 innings. He gives you 180 to 200 strikeouts. With the upside, he had 237 strikeouts in 2023. But every year since 2020, he's giving you an ERA that starts with a 2 or a 3 while giving you at least 174 innings. So it's hard to argue. The Jays, I think, are a really strong team still, and he could give you double-digit wins, and that volume should lead to close to 200 strikeouts again.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and take some shots here and see how this ends up. Team 6 after Joe Orrico takes Carlos Estevez. Then you have Seiya Suzuki, Nico Horner, O'Neal Cruz at 909, Sonny Gray, Trevor Story, and then I took Kyle Stowers, get another outfielder there. And then Ozzie Albies for my second base spot. Look, in the 10th round, I'm willing to take a shot on Ozzie Albies. Again, Chris Towers yesterday from Fantasy Baseball Today on CBS was on with us, and we had a nice conversation about him, and he and I see this the same, which is, yeah, it's risky, but the Braves disintegrated last year, and I am buying back in on the Atlanta Braves. He's also still in his prime in terms of age. He's 29 years old. These should be his prime years. when he is at his best, he's a 30-20 guy with 100 runs and 100 RBI. I don't need him to be that in the 10th round. If he can be 80% of that, I think this pick is a win. And Kyle Stowers, last year I think was a breakout season for him. 25 homers, 5 steals at 288, and I do think he's capable of repeating something close to that, hopefully a full season from him in 2026. After Albies, you got Jackson Holiday, Brandon Woodruff, Sal Perez, Zach Wheeler in the 10th round, Pablo Lopez to Team 7, and at 10:07, Drake Baldwin, Rookie of the Year. Joe Orrico going outfield with a Met, Luis Robert. Let's talk about it. Speaking of guys with upside, stolen base potential, and more, Luis Robert, one of those guys. Can he turn it around in a contract year with a new location in New York?
Yeah, just getting out of Chicago, I think, is going to do wonders for him. Look at what happened to Andrew Vaughn. He becomes prime Pujols the second he gets out of Chicago. And I don't know that I'm expecting that necessarily, but I mean, still just 28 years old. He's put up seasons with 38 homers. He's had 33 steals. He's hit 284 in a year. You're going to a much better lineup where there's no pressure on Luis Robert. He's going to hit in the middle, and he doesn't need to be the star anymore. So he can just kind of focus on getting his career back on track. You got to worry about the contract the year coming up. So I think we could see a 30-30 from Luis Robert with great counting stats as the upside. That's the ceiling for Luis Robert here, I think.
All right, the upside certainly abound for him. After Robert, Willie Adames goes, then Teoscar Hernandez to Kelly Kirby, who is on the clock here, making our next pick. Yandy Diaz, we'll come back to you for your next two, Kel. Scott Bogman took Jordan Westberg and Sadane Rafaela. So Rafaela, kind of a weird one last year, Boggs, because the power output was pretty decent, but man, like some of the on-base skills, some of the contact skills, not great. Great defensive player, but kind of strange he was able to put up as many good offensive moments as he did, considering some of those underlying statistics.
Yeah, I was, I think, second in average, so I just needed some pop. I needed some stolen bases. I think he fit. Plus, I love the crossover, that I also get him at second base in case anything happens there, because that can get real thin after the draft, obviously. So just wanted to go ahead and fill in that spot. And then just furious with Joe and Kelly here, because the top guys on my list were Lou Bob for the bounce back and then Teoscar for some floor, and they both went right in front of me to the only people that I know here, obviously.
The only humans.
All these entities are just so much here.
Right.
But Westberg is another guy, qualifies. I can move him around at MI if I want to, stick him at third base, but still got a top 10, one of my top 10 third basemen here, and that's going to get pretty thin pretty quick.
All right, next up here, we're going to recap Kelly's two picks now that she is off of the clock officially. We had Jacob Mizorowski go, and then Nate Eovaldi, another guy straight from my queue. So Teoscar, obviously, solid power guy, going to hit you your 25 home runs, going to probably hit somewhere around 250, 260, you would theorize, and then certainly drive in a fair amount too in that Dodger lineup. And then Eovaldi, one of the best pitchers in baseball statistically last year, 36, another year older. But Kelly, I'm all in too, especially at the cost. If you can get him in the 11th round, I think that's a huge win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the age, obviously, but if it's only going to cost me an 11th round pick to get anything resembling what he did last year, and his xERA, yeah, he had a microscopic ERA that he's not going to have again. It was 1.73, but his xERA was 3.02. So he doesn't walk a ton of people. They're not hitting it hard off him anymore where they weren't last year. So I'm going to roll with that again.
All right, so we're rolling with that again, and we have, after Eovaldi, Tyler Glasnow. Joe Orrico takes Michael Busch. One of my favorite late guys to get at the first base position, because, look, Michael Busch, 30 home runs last year, very quietly, 90 RBI. I feel like he's kind of a forgotten man, Joe.
Yeah, I'm in the projections kind of lacking a little bit in the power and the counting stats, and you got a guy in a great lineup who really broke out, and below the surface, it's even better than it looks on the surface. A 17% barrel rate, hitting fly balls 42% of the time, with really good plate discipline for a power hitter. He doesn't chase a lot. He makes really good contact, not a huge strikeout rate. There's a lot to really like about Michael Busch. I don't think he should still be sitting there after pick 100 in most rooms.
No, I would agree there. But he seems to always be, which is hilarious. You just think, let's take it for granted. But if you miss out on those early corner guys, Michael Busch, rounds 9 through 11, depending on the depth of your league, pretty good selection. Ryan Helsley goes next, then Luis Castillo, Raciel Iglesias, Brandon Nimmo, Luke Keyshaw, Trey Savage at 11-11, and then I am on the clock officially here. So let's take a look at what is on the board. For me, I'm going to go ahead and go back into the well for another starting pitcher here. I am very big on Nick Lodolo this year. I like what he brought last season. Now it's just a matter of having a nice, full, healthy season. That Reds team, I think, is pretty good. And I need some more outfield help, too. So I'm going to go with Andy Pajes as well. Lots of Dodgers for me because I feel like,
Gross.
well, they might score a few runs here and there. Like just maybe a couple wins, maybe. Maybe it'll be a 500 team, just thinking. But
How
look,
far up did you move Tucker in your overall when he
you
signed
know,
with the
it's funny. I didn't shift him too much because Tucker, to me, this is a fun, maybe just like topic for the room, and anyone can jump in. Tucker, to me, is always a very nice player, but I never feel great about Kyle Tucker being like my number one guy. And I still think he is still just that in LA. It's not like he went to some hitter environment that's just tremendous. He does have a lot of run support. Certainly the runs are going to be good. He is a player that has missed some time in some seasons as well. I just kind of look at Kyle Tucker as like that perfect 1A guy at a turn. And I don't feel like that's how he's valued. And I feel like the overpay of the contract, Joe Orrico, you were kind of grunting there. It feels like that may be how you feel too. Like people might bump him up a little bit too much artificially just because he is a Dodger. And I think that's a dangerous game to play.
I'm kind of on the other side, Joe. I hate to disagree with you, but
I love when you disagree with me. Makes
really
me feel like comfortable, like I'm with my family.
I mean, like it's like a get together with the cousins, right? A bunch of yelling across the table. But I think that Kyle Tucker feels really, really safe because a lot of guys in that lineup are starting to get a little bit older and they may get days off to try and preserve them for the playoffs. With Kyle Tucker, he's already dealt with time off the last couple seasons. I feel like if Kyle Tucker is healthy, he's going to play 150 games. And the park as a whole is not one of the best parks for hitting. I mean, it's up there, right? It's the sixth in terms of park factor, but just for home runs, it's first. It's even better than Great American Ballpark, and I think that kind of gets forgotten about sometimes. So I think if Tucker's healthy, and that's the big question for me, because the last 2 years we've had these crazy phantom injuries where the teams don't even seem to know how to assess him. So if he's healthy, he's a good pick, but that goes for pretty much everybody in the first round, I think.
Yeah, 500 at bats last year, 22 homers, 133 hits. It was a little bit of a lackluster season for him. And maybe it's the pressure of.
But is there a better spot in any lineup than
there
front
isn't.
of Ohtani, Betts, and behind Freeman, Will Smith? That's
There
pretty
isn't.
incredible.
There isn't, and he'll probably still, again, if healthy, be a very strong statistical player. I just like him. He went later than I would have taken him in like this draft. He went in the middle of the second. I think that's too late. But yeah. I've seen some people take him ahead of Ellie De La Cruz, and I think that's also a little crazy as well sometimes. All right, let's get to some more of the picks here that we're making. We've got, let's recap through. So I took Pajes, then Chase Burns, Taylor Ward, Will Smith, Ian Happ, Yanir Diaz, and then Wilson Contreras goes. Michael King to Joe Orrico. I know you're on the clock, Joe. So we will go ahead and skip you and come back to you. Joe Adele goes, Lawrence Butler, Sandy Alcantara. So let's talk about Lawrence Butler's selection here to Kelly Kirby. So Butler, another guy, power, speed, but man, the contact fell off the map last year, Kelly.
Yeah, it totally did. What you see here in my back-to-back picks of Lawrence Butler and Stephen Kwan is that I did end up waiting too long on outfield. And so I love the Athletics lineup. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there for tons and tons of runs. So if he can rediscover anything that he had 2 years ago, I'll take it. But I need a little speed. I need a little bit. I like runs right now in this area. So that's why I went with him.
Okay, so after Lawrence Butler, Sandy Alcantara goes, and Bogman, you took Jacob Marcy, who had a nice season last year, kind of under the radar, 14 stolen bases, 2 in 55 games, and then Emmett Sheehan, another one of those big upside plays. I like these two picks here. Some big upside plays here, and Sheehan's just a matter of how does he figure into this rotation this season. So let's talk about Sheehan, and give me your take on Marcy as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just needed speed, so I think Marcy is a good pick here. For that, there's a lot on the board I like here. I like picking in this area, so it's kind of hard to narrow it down. But again, we talked about the Dodgers and the wins upside. There's a lot of wins upside for Sheehan here, so excited about these two picks, both upside picks and both fitting needs for my squad here.
All right, Cam Schlittler goes next. He lasted way too long, in my opinion. Stephen Kwan at 1303. So, Kelly, let's go back to the Kwan conversation here because Kwan is a nice counteract, I feel like, to Lawrence Butler. You're getting stolen bases as well, but also with the batting average, hopefully. Typically, he's above that 272 mark, so he's a little down from 2 years ago where he was at 290, but no doubt about it, I think a nice counterbalance to what you did here in the last round.
Yeah, I like him, and I'm also expecting a little bit of a bounce back in terms of batting average, and again, there's never a bad time to bat in front of Jose Ramirez. So I like him for the same kind of thing. It's like with him, it's runs and average to offset what else I've got going. But I was gonna just say with Bogman too that there are about like 15 pitchers that I wanted to take, and I was like, and the draft wizard was like, if you take another pitcher, I swear. So I went hitter.
Do it. Don't you do it. All right. Let's take Trevor McGill here next at 1304, and then Matt Chapman to Joe Orrico at 1305. Joe, take it away.
Yeah, Welshie, I know that he was your number one guy, so I'm not just slandering the Bryce Terang pick for when you're listening back to this. I do listen.
Boy, taking shots at guys who aren't even on the show today. Look at
No,
you.
I'm praising it. This was his must-have guy, so I'm kind of offsetting the Bryce Terang slander. But I agree. I really like Matt Chapman. He feels like a forgotten guy, even though the Giants lineup looks really good right now. Every year he's punching 20 homers, and he started stealing as well. 15 steals in 2024. And even though he missed more than 30 games last year, 9 steals from your third baseman really, really does help out. He doesn't kill you in the batting average, and the upside there is 30 homers with 100 ribbies. And corner infield, I mean, between first and third, you get to this point, it does get pretty dark.
It certainly does. We got the Murakamis of the world, the Christian Walkers, Torkelson at first base, and then if you want to play the Royce Lewis game, you can always do that as well. By the way, speaking of the Schwellenbach injury too, I have a prediction. We'll see if it comes to fruition. We are live here on our Twitch. My prediction is this, that if it is indeed serious, which it seems like, 60-day is pretty serious, Zach Gallen will be an Atlanta Brave before March 1st.
I could see
Agree or disagree, everybody?
I could see it for sure. He feels like a Brave.
He hasn't signed yet. I mean,
it makes sense. I do think he's not signing because of the pick compensation. The D-backs are the only team that doesn't have to pay that, obviously. So I'm hoping he comes back to Arizona, but I think it's doubtful at this point.
I have to imagine, by the way, too, that we are just in a holding pattern there for him, where you've got it. I don't know. If you're the Atlanta Braves, you got Chris Sale for another year here holding it together. You're all in. You give up a pick, you give up a pick. You got Strider that you hope is back to form, but if he's not, losing Schwellenbach in the middle of that rotation is a problem. So to me, I think Zach Gallen would be an Atlanta Brave. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the show, we'll see how that goes. By the way, again, Draft Simulator is here for you. Go to fantasypros.com/MLB Draft Wizard. That's where you can go ahead and you could find all of the mock drafts you could possibly handle. You complete mock drafts in minutes. You get the grades. We're going to do the grades on ours here at the end of the show, which is fantastic. You could start a draft and say, hey, I don't really like how this is going, and back out the picks and redo it. It's about training. It's about getting ready, and Draft Wizard gets you ready for all of your leagues, and you can even set it to the specific settings of all of your leagues as well. So make sure you check that out today. All right, let's get back into the draft here and see what else we've got going on after Chapman. We got Brandon Lau off the board here. I accidentally just went out of the draft, so I got to go back in the draft here for a moment.
Jeez.
My bad. Wrong click there. One bad click. Next thing you know, it's all over.
I remember my first mock draft.
Next thing you know, yeah,
well, Joe Orrico just told me to go get my Shine box. Joe Orrico, this is years of hanging out with me. I'm so proud of you. Damn it. The pride and joy on my face right now of Joe Orrico tell me that I remember my first mock draft. If he had done that, that would have been even better. Shane Bieber goes at 1307. Ivan Herrera, then Trevor Rogers. I was hoping he'd make it to me. He did not. Just a couple picks. Gleyber Torres, Isaac Paredes. And I am on the clock for a couple here, so I can go. Certainly looking at more starting pitching. You can never have enough of that. Do I have any closers yet? No. Will I draft closers? The answer is eventually. So let's take a look and see what's available here. Gavin Williams, I think, is the way I'm going to go here for my first pick. And then it's a choice between Ryan Pepio, who's kind of steady Eddie, or the crazy fun upside of a guy like Mackenzie Gore. Joe Orrico, he recently got traded to the Texas Rangers. Mackenzie Gore, the first half of the year, was an absolute stud. Second half of the year, absolute dud. What's your betting money on Mackenzie Gore this season?
I mean, it's a nice ballpark upgrade, much safer for him, change of environment to a better team. I'm kind of in on him. I did a short for the channel a couple of weeks ago talking about potential breakouts, and I think that he is definitely somebody that should qualify. What we got to worry about is the second half, because it's his entire career, every year, it seems to fall apart in the second half. But you give him another year to progress. He's now 27 years. He's going to be 27 years old in a couple of weeks, and that's kind of the age where a lot of pitchers start to figure it out after having a couple of years to get acclimated to major league hitting. So I really like Mackenzie Gore. I think that he is one of the big breakout SPs of the year.
I think in an environment too, with that manager and environment with those other pitchers like Jacob deGrom and Nady Eovaldi, the veterans, that's something you don't benefit from, right? When you're pitching in Washington, you don't get a lot of that help from the guys around you because you're the elder statesman when you're like 26 years old in Washington. So I'm going to go ahead and take Gore here as my 5th starting pitcher, I believe, off the board. Or is he the 6th? I got to look. I got so many pitchers. I got pitches everywhere. Freddie Peralta, Blake Snell, Spencer Strider, Lodolo, Gavin Williams. Mackenzie Gore is my 6th. I'm at peace with that. By the way, Zach Gallen's still floating around in case anybody wants a pitcher. Colson Montgomery, 1402. Ryan Pepio, 1403. Robbie Ray, Pete Fairbanks, Jeff Hoffman, Dansby Swanson, and Joe Orrico goes closer with Palencia again. So let's talk about Palencia, the Cubs closer for 2026.
I had Fairbanks and Hoffman in my queue ahead of him. I just want to take care of that second closer spot. I find that in the drafts I've done this year, that's what gets away from me. And then I end up, with a Griffin Jacks or Brian Abreu, Edwin Uceta type of thing. So at this point, I've got my 2 closers. Don't have to worry about it again. And I think they're both guys who are totally locked into their jobs as well. Valencia, I don't know why he falls as much as he does. I feel like every draft he's more cheap than he should be.
I agree. I think that's a weird one. It's a good assessment. Clearly not your first draft. Xavier Edwards at 1409. Kelly Kirby takes Drew Rasmussen at her next pick here. So let's talk about Rasmussen coming off a year with a 2.76 ERA and a 102 whip over 150 innings and 31 starts. Not too bad for Drew.
Yeah, I also want to address that Cubs closers are cursed. That's why he falls so far, because he will not be the closer by July, probably. So, that's, I think, the definition there. Yeah, when I was writing my note about Rasmussen, I was just like, I feel like everyone keeps forgetting that they're not going to play at George Steinbrenner Field this year, and that his numbers, like his FIP, stayed pretty steady, and he gave up over 1 home run per game, but like all of them were at home. So I just think that the Rays pitchers should be collected if they're healthy. So and he's where we start with.
All right. So continuing on here, Scott Bogman, your next selection here after Adley Rutschman goes, Kenley Jansen, then Christian Walker. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, I wanted to, this finger, but this is not the one for Joe, right? Like, one of those, because you can see me if you go back and look at it, visibly upset when Fairbanks and Hoffman come off the board, because it kind of ended a tear for me. And then I queued up Palencia, and then Palencia went. So I just wanted to get that second closer since I spent up on Duran. I was hoping I would get one of Fairbanks or Hoffman, but obviously they didn't make it to me. So just had to get in there. And I love Christian Walker. Big second half, obviously. I watched him a lot in Arizona, but big second half for Houston. Still love him in Houston with the Crawford boxes there for his power. I think he takes more advantage of it this season. So excited to get him because I needed a little pop here.
All right, so a little pop there for Scott Bogman. After that selection, it turns back around. Emilio Pagan, then Jerickson Profar to Kelly Kirby. Profar obviously missed half a season for PEDs. So what does it look like for him in 2026 with a full year? Assuming not on PEDs.
I think he looks perfectly a little bit above average. This is, again, that the betting that the Braves are going to come back, sort of just have a really big bounce back here all around. The truth was I was going off about Daniel Palencia, and so I just ended up going with what Draft Wizard said was my biggest boost.
There you go. Get that big boost in there. That's what you need. All right, next up here, Joe Orrico's pick coming up in a second, Noelvi Marte. Joe, you took Brian Reynolds. I know you're on the clock, so you made your selection. So go ahead. Talk about Brian Reynolds at 15:05.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Brian Reynolds is a guy that had a bad year in 2025, but nothing drastically changed below the surface. In fact, his barrel and hard hit rates both improved. He's a guy that we know plays every day. 159, 145, 156, 154. Those are his games played over the last few years. And the Pirates lineup is looking as good as it has been in his time as a member of the team. So you're getting him about 50, 60 picks later than usual. I might have even jumped him around earlier because I wanted to just make sure I got him. I also needed an outfielder, and Reynolds feels like a 20-10 waiting to happen. And then I backed it up with Addison Barger, who, again, it feels like a homer pick every time I take a Blue Jay. But Addison Barger, what he did in his first full season was really impressive. He improved against lefties as the year went on. And I have the ability to mix and match him because he's third base and outfield eligible as the number 2 hitter in the Jays lineup with Springer ahead and Vladdy behind him. I think he's a very safe pick.
All right, a safe pick there. And I just see on my phone here from our player news on Fantasy Pros, Spencer Schwellenbach elbow will begin the season on the 60-day IL. So there you have it. The first pitcher salvo to fall, one of many to come. I'm perfectly sure. This is why you sync all your leagues for free, so you get the updates here, especially when you're doing a live mock draft. You certainly want to have them. After Noelvi Marte, Brian Reynolds, Bubba Chandler, Imai goes off the board. Jacob Wilson at 1508. Ranger Suarez at 1509. A lot of people skittish about him in Fenway Park, rightfully so. Tanner Bybee, Mike Trout. Then I took Spencer Torkelson for some power, and Carlos Rodon. I'm going to miss the first month of the season probably, but again, he is still a Yankee, and Carlos Rodon typically misses a month of a season anyway, so we might as well just know which one it is going into it. Robert Suarez goes next, and Chandler Simpson, Alejandro Kirk, Dylan Cruz, Marcus Semien, Bryson Stott at 1607, excuse me, and then Addison Barger. If you want to shake the homer thing, you got to stop drafting Blue Jays, Joe. Just saying.
Someday, maybe.
Someday.
I don't think he wants to shake it.
Yeah, go ahead. Addison Barger, take it away, Joe. Talk about it. 21 homers last year.
Yeah, he's very safe. He's a very safe draft pick in a very good lineup. The Jays didn't make those big additions, Tucker and Bichette, like we were hoping they would, so he's still going to be at the top of that order. You get the great barrel rate. You got a solid ballpark. All the factors seem to be working in his favor, and yet, I took him in a real draft yesterday, 252 overall. I just don't know why people are not more interested in Addison Barger.
All right, so continuing not to... I like Barger. He's a nice player. Murakami goes next. Alec Burleson to Kelly Kirby, another one of my favorite guys here. Burleson's always, again, kind of boring, but steady. And I think, when you get to these later rounds, it's better to take investments on guys like that sometimes than all the what-if guys. Let's talk about Burleson for a second. Give him some love.
Yeah, as a Cubs fan, this sucks to say, but I mean, I have a love affair going on with Burleson, probably more than almost any Cardinal ever, just because of that. Like where he's going in drafts, it makes him, I think, extremely valuable. He hit 290 last year, so even if he hits 270 and pops another 20 home runs, at this stage, 17th round, I'll take that. He also has, I believe, first base eligibility too, so he could fill in the corner infield. So yeah, I really like him in terms of not necessarily the floor, but just he's 27. Let's see what he can do.
All right. Next up, Scott Bogman here, because after Burleson, Mark Vientos goes, and you had two selections, Anthony Santander and then Jorge Polanco, who, again, I don't know why he lasts so long. He's going to qualify at first base pretty soon. Already qualifies at second and third. Just that alone with a 20-homer bat, to me, Boggs is a very valuable asset, especially round 17. This might be the steal of the draft.
Well, Joey, I read the Fantasy Black Book.
Well,
so, of course,
that's good.
I take Joe Orrico's advice.
Yes, you should.
Jorge Polanco, in almost every draft. And I think what I really needed here was RBI. So being on the corner and getting Santander and Jorge Polanco this late in the draft here to add to my power, it's just it is an advantage of being on the end. So really like those two picks because I don't know these hitting spots. I mean, Santander is behind Vlad and Barger and Springer and ahead of my son, Alejandro Kirk, right? So that's pretty good. And then Polanco is hitting right behind Juan Soto. So I love these spots in the lineup for driving in runs. So, and they're just bargains at this point, are hitting behind Bo Bichette and Juan Soto and Lindor. So lots of pop, lots of RBI here, which is exactly what I needed.
Dalton Varsho, then Dennis Santana, Kelly Kirby. So Santana, obviously, closer for a team right now that, they just added Marcell Ozuna yesterday. So they are clearly showing the major leagues that a salary cap floor is coming in 2027.
Correct. Yes, very much so. It's projected that he'll get 24 saves or something like that. And I was like, wow, they're expecting them to save 75% of the Pirates wins. That's going to be crazy. But yeah, I mean, he's not my favorite, but he was kind of the next guy up. And I just needed some saves around this time. So that's why I took him.
Jack Flaherty, Edward Cabrera for Joe Orrico. Cabrera I was contemplating in round 15. And he slid all the way to 17, Joe. I thought that was kind of crazy. Look, Cubs were aggressive on him this offseason. He had a 3-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. Lance Brozdowski, we had on the show last year. I remember him talking about Cabrera being one of his breakout guys. And breakout he did. The question is, can he build on that? And can he do it over a full season at age 27?
Yeah, the concern for me more so than the skills is just how much is he going to pitch? Because he is 137 innings was his career high in 2025. You kind of need more than that for him to return value. But again, it's a nice little ballpark upgrade going from Miami to Chicago. It's one of the better parks for pitchers in all of baseball. And I think that will be a small assistance for a guy in Cabrera who has allowed a lot of home runs in his career, 1.23 homer 9. That should help. But it really just is about staying healthy. He's my SP5 or 6, SP5. And I think at that point, it's a reasonable risk to take. I got the guys like Kirby, like Gausman that I think can throw a lot of innings. So a little bit of upside with some risk with Edward Cabrera, I think makes sense.
All right, next up here after Joe Orrico's selection of Cabrera, Jose Soriano. Sorry, I was going in the right direction here. I've lost track. I've lost my track. No, Jose Soriano, Brenton Doyle goes, then Kyle Teal, Shote Managa, Dalen Lyle, and then Abner Uribe goes right before me. So I took Zach Gallen because I think I'm going to be right about that Atlanta Braves landing spot, and that's a good place to land if you're Zach Gallen. Ryan, it just feels so right. It just feels right. Ryan Walker to me, and then Jonathan Aranda on the turn here at 1802. Andrew Abbott, Cade Horton, Aaron Nola, Royce Lewis finally goes in the 18th round. Roki Sasaki, and then Joe Orrico, Weiler Abreu at 1808, coming off a nice year.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lacking in power, and that's kind of the thing when we recap that I'll probably be deficient in. But Wilyer Abreu, guy, 115 games last year, 22 homers with 12% barrel, 45% hard hit rate. It's a good park. He's an amazing defender. So even though there is talk about who's going to be in the starting lineup in Boston, are they going to trade somebody? Abreu feels like a building block because of how well rounded he is. So he feels like a very safe guy. From a playing time perspective, he chips in some speed. He doesn't hurt batting average. He kind of helps all over. But specifically, I think that he has that 30 home run upside that my team needs at this point.
Amazing to see Roki Sasaki fall the 18th round after last year's draft stock. After Abreu, Sal Frelick, Tovar, to Kelly Kirby. Tovar, look, a player that I keep waiting for to put it all together. In 2024, it looked like things were really going his way. And then last year, obviously, missing significant time, things did not go. Can he bounce back this year in 2026?
I'm hoping so. I mean, I think that I really wanted Wilyer Abreu. So, I mean, I got absolutely sniped, which I don't usually admit ever. But I will since it was Orrico and neither of the other two of you. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he can bounce back. I'm hoping he can kind of like maybe bring the floor up a little bit and then cross it. But I mean, if he hits 20 home runs, then I'll take him. I mean, in the 18th round, it's not exciting under any circumstances, but which Rockies are. So
that is also a fair assessment. All right, let's continue on here with the next elections. After Kelly Kirby takes Tovar, Spencer Steer, and then Bogman, you took Shane Baz to end the 18th, and Merle Kelly to start the 19th. Two pitchers here. Let's talk about those guys.
Yeah, normally I would want to take Shane McClanahan like Kelly did, but I already have my injury risk in Spencer Schwellenbach, so I went with two.
Guys. All set.
Yeah, floor innings boys, and Shane Baz. I just like him getting out of the bandbox of Steinbrenner, which he would have anyway. But getting him in Baltimore, I think, is going to be a lot of fun this year. And then a nice floor guy in my dude, Merrill Kelly, total homer pick, but also right around the spot where he's going to go.
All right, so after Merrill Kelly, you have Xander Bogaerts, Shane McClanahan to Kelly, and they obviously throwing it at the wind here, hoping that he pitches again. I'm very skeptical. 2 Tommy Johns and then the nerve issue. I don't know. Kelly, give me over under 8.5 starts for Shane McClanahan in 2026.
Oof, 8.5. Let's see. I am gonna go with. I think he'll get to 10.
You get to 10. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, you're on the clock. I'll let you make your pick. Matthew Boyd, Hurston Waldrop, Max Muncy. So Joe Orrico takes Waldrop here. We're going to fly through some of these picks here for time. Max Muncy, then Matt Shaw, Chris Bubich, Mason Wynn, David Peterson, Luis Ariz goes next, and then Helio Ramos to me, Marcelo Ozuna. So I took my DH and my final outfielder there. I think Ozuna was just hurt last year. He was never healthy. It was well documented, and it affected him. I think he goes to Pittsburgh, and he just goes out there, and he hits 30 home runs again. And it's just... we just get back on track. I really do. These guys, when they get into their 30s, who are just DHs, the Ortizes and the Nelson Cruzes of the world, and they're just going to keep hitting because they don't have to play the field. Last year, just not healthy. I think a healthy year for Ozuna is a bounce back. Garrett Cole in the 20th round. Griffin Jacks, Carlos Correa, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Akamoto, then Joe Musgrave, Connor Griffin, and Joe Orrico. All right, so round 20, you're making a statement here with the young kid. Will he be the opening day shortstop for the Pirates, Joe?
I'm leaning towards that way right now. He's still really young, and he has never played at AAA. He only has 21 games at AA, so maybe he doesn't get up immediately. But the Pirates do seem relatively serious about competing. They have a really good pitching staff. They've made a lot of moves on their offense. But shortstop is still a gap, and I think Connor Griffin, with his skill set, should not be down for long. Even if he's not up opening day, I think he can come up and play close to 100 games. And if you look even at the most, conservative numbers on the projections, it's 10 homers, it's 20 steals with a good batting average, and in the mid 200s here. Even if it doesn't work out, he's a pretty easy drop, or a guy that I could stash for when he does eventually come up and just use a replacement middle infielder for the first month of the season.
Connolly early goes, and then Basayo goes to Kelly Kirby. Basayo, obviously a prospect here that had a little cup of coffee, 31 games, only hit a $165, but certainly the upside is one for the 21-year-old that Baltimore is very excited about.
Yeah, and at this point, when you wait that long for catcher, I'd rather take somebody that has some upside than take one of the ones that I'm just like I just don't want. I don't want catcher to hurt me. And Basalo could hurt me. He could absolutely hurt me. But at least there's some interest that he could do way more than that. So
I just don't want catcher to hurt me. That's all.
Listen, my therapist still won't let me draft Robbie Ray for that exact reason. So I mean, we're very serious about this.
All right, continuing on here, Scott Bogman after Basayo, Matt McClain, then you took Gabriel Moreno and Casey Mize from Detroit. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Gabby was just, I have to get a catcher. It's starting to get gross for whatever reason. A bunch of catchers have gone in this draft. Don't really understand it, but he also helps my average. So we'll go with that. And Casey Mize, just another, decent starting pitcher in this area. Furious that Orrico took Connor Griffin. Surprised that he went because he's been falling, but absolutely, you are not my friend anymore.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah, we had a good run.
Yeah, it was good for a while. All right, so Joey Cantillo goes next, then Bryce Miller to Kelly Kirby. You have Brian Abreu, Logan Henderson to Joe Orrico here. Joe, with that addition now of Kyle Harrison, too, all of a sudden this Milwaukee Brewers back of the rotation battle is getting thicker and thicker, don't you think?
It is, yeah. Nothing is set in stone, but I think Logan Henderson, what he did last year, he has earned a spot. He has definitely earned a spot in this rotation. I know it was only 5 starts with a 1.78 ERA, but if you look at what he did in the minors, it was also very good. A 3.59 ERA in AAA, really good strikeout to walk numbers. I just think the Brewers are always really underrated, whether it's their position players, their pitchers, whoever it is. And you also have the battle aspect at the end of the rotation that's probably keeping the price down a little bit. But I just always feel like these guys are a round or two later than they should be. I think Logan Henderson's upside is an ace as long as he can throw 130-ish innings. I think even if he doesn't throw quite 130, even 120 or so, I think he probably pays off at this spot.
All right. Remember, MLB Draft Wizard tools are here for you. The championships are won in the draft, and that's where Fantasy Pros MLB Draft Wizard gives you the edge here. And you can go ahead and sync your leagues in seconds, run realistic mock drafts using your settings. Our tools will show you what players to take. You can star your favorites, and if you're in a pinch, just ask Coach for real-time advice, which is great. The Coach feature, you say, hey, I need more upside, stolen bases. Who's a good look right now? Hey, I need some value in starting pitching. Who's a good look right now? Who's on the board? You put it in there, it'll tell you the answers, and that's what we love. And, of course, use the cheat sheets, the projections, all the tools at fantasypros.com/MLB Draft Wizard. Next up here, you took him out of my queue here, You bastard people. Noah Cameron, Jose Caballero, Jack Leiter, my best friend, Colt Keith, Quinn Priester, Grant Taylor goes. Then I took Sal Stewart and Sean Manaea, so Sean Manaea qualifies at RP here in the format we're in. So there you go. That's my other reliever for now. Alec Boehm, then Jason Dominguez, Kyle Finnegan, Marcelo Mayer, Kyle Manzardo, the man-child, Giancarlo Stanton, Joe Orrico, I like this pick, Jack Caglione, big-time upside, Jake Berger. Kelly, you took Kerry Carpenter with your next selection here. Carpenter certainly a guy. I think you're getting some pretty good value here with power down all the way in the 22nd round.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously going to take Jack Caglione because I needed way more Royals on my team. I was very interested in him, but I think Kerry Carpenter, you're good. You have a chance at 30 home runs in the 22nd round, and he's in a good lineup where he should drive in plenty of people. So I'm gonna eat the average on that, but I'll take the power.
All right, taking the power there. And then after Kerry Carpenter, Trent Grisham, Cody Ponce out of my queue, in for Scott Bogman's team, and then Jordan Beck. I know Joe Orrico has some misgivings about Ponce, but I say at 22nd round, you throw a flyer box and you see if it sticks, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize that Joe didn't like him. I figured I have to take him early because he's a Blue Jay here. But no, I really like him. And this is probably, watching Merrill Kelly come over from Korea and dominate. I think Cody Ponce obviously had such a great run over there and is going to come back. And I think he's going to do pretty well. And I like Jordan Beck hitting in Colorado, just, decent in pretty much everything. So I like these two picks late. But I was really upset by Caballero going. He was one of my favorites, but I submitted my ranks. I'm probably way too high on him, and that is why he went to an auto drafter here. But yes, I was upset about that, but getting Ponce and Beck is a nice consolation here.
All right, so Luis Garcia goes, Trent Grisham goes, then Cody Ponce, Jordan Beck, then Luis Garcia, then Otto Lopez at 2303, Reed Detmers at 2304, Bailey Ober, Nolan Arenado, Uceda, then we have Brendan Donovan. I don't love Kelly. Do you love the Brendan Donovan landing spot here where he goes to Seattle? I mean, I like Brendan Donovan, the baseball player, but I don't love anybody landing in Seattle with some of those numbers we've seen from hitters the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I was not a fan of that. I love the versatility, and obviously you can put him anywhere, but that's not a great hitting environment for him. I don't know where they're going to bat him in that lineup, so I feel like he's going to be closer to the bottom. I kind of feel that way, I think, with you when there's a lot of hitters. When they go to Seattle, I'm kind of like, ooh. Yeah.
Oh, look at Suarez last year, too. It just nosedived last year. I'm really mad because Brett Beatty went, and then J.J. Weatherholt, who was my next pick, went out right to Team 10. Jerk. Ramon Laureano, 2311, so I took Francisco Alvarez as my catcher. Mickey Moniak at 2401. Adolis Garcia goes next, then Stevenson, Ryan Nelson, Josh Lowe, Garrett Whitlock, Colton Cowser, Joe Orrico, Braxton Ashcraft. Look at you loading up on Pirates. How does that feel for you, buddy?
When you put it like that, it doesn't feel great. But I really like Braxton Ashcraft. As a starter, I think he will be a full-time starter this year, and his numbers are very, very strong at all levels of the minors. He debuted with a 2.71 ERA. It was a 24% strikeout rate. The whip was fairly solid, but he doesn't allow hard contact. It was a sub 5% barrel rate, 38% hard hit rate. There's a lot to like about Ashcraft, but the price with the starting pitcher, relief pitcher eligibility in this type of format, when there might be certain days or weeks where I need to put him in a relief pitcher spot, I can do that. So he's a very versatile player. Even though the Pirates part kind of worries me, I really do like Braxton Ashcraft.
It's funny. It sounds like a made-up player, like when you extend out your MLB The Show seasons and they have to create guys. Braxton Ashcraft definitely has that vibe about him.
Yeah.
After Ashcraft, you have Jake Magnum, also has that same kind of vibe. Ian Seymour to Kelly Kirby, one of my favorite pitching prospects. We'll see what he could do for the big club this year. Caleb Durbin, who just got traded. We got to update that, too. It just happened yesterday. So it says Milwaukee still. Now he's a Boston Red Sox, and Red Sox Nation is thrilled about it. Oh, my goodness. Social media, very kind yesterday to all the Rafael Devers was trending on Twitter. Oh, so funny. Ryan O'Hearn, and then Vodnik goes, then Riley O'Brien. Kelly, you're up next for your 2503 pick. What do you have?
Hold on.
Oh, Bogman, why don't you talk about your two picks while Kelly makes hers?
Yeah, my two picks were just I like the fact that O'Hearn is in Pittsburgh, should be in the middle of the lineup, and then Vodnik for saves. Pretty easy picks there.
All right, so pretty easy picks. Kelly, Chase DeLauder. It was worth the time. I like it, 2503.
Yeah, again, if he can stay, or if he can get healthy and then, give it a shot. I've got him in a couple different dynasty leagues that I'm like, can you do it this time? But yeah, I think his upside is there. I think, again, I like that lineup as well. So we'll see what he can do in the 25th round. I mean, why not take a shot on somebody that could get a little bit above, replacement player level. So
yeah, works for me. All right, next up, TJ Friedel, then Cade Cavalli for Joe Orrico. This is a guy that you take in a lot of these drafts here late, Joe. Let's talk about Cavalli.
Yeah, he's one of my big SP sleepers for the year. He might be the only pitcher left in Washington. They might have to do like the Bugs Bunny thing with this guy. He's pitching every single day. But he's a top prospect who did miss a couple of seasons, returned last year, and we have enough of a bridge now between this Tommy John surgery and now that I don't know if it's as much of a concern anymore. When the guys immediately return, sometimes things are looking rough. But he returned and it was a 4.25 ERA, which doesn't blow you away. But I think when you look below the surface, there's a lot to like here. He doesn't allow a lot of hard contact. He gets the swing and misses. He has 5 pitches that grade out as at least an average on the Stuff Plus scale. It's a 108 Stuff overall. and they're going to need him. There's going to be no messing around. He's going to go down to AAA, whatever. He's going to make 30 starts this year, and I think they're going to be at least serviceable enough for going around pick 300.
All right, so after Cavalli, Edman, Nick Castellanos, Jung-Ho Lee, Casey, Justin Crawford, I like that selection in the 25th. Boy, Team 10's crushing those prospects. Weatherhold, Crawford, Evan Carter, that must be the Welsh bot. Andrew Vaughn, for me, Kodai Senga, again, just taking two guys where I just think value and guys who are going to be members of the team that are going to contribute. Armstrong, Jojo Romero, Will Vest, see my vest. Javier Baez, Swanson, Beavers, Lopez, Jordan Wicks. We're rolling here from Mr. Irrelevant. Kelly Kirby is up with your last selection. Kelly, what do you have?
Well, I need a few more possible saves, but I also want someone with a pretty good strikeout percentage. So I'm gonna take Robert Garcia in Texas, mostly because
Almost took him.
I feel like he's got a chance. So I'm gonna do it.
Anybody does in Texas. I
That's what
literally
I mean.
going back and forth. But I was like,
Yep.
you know, you can never have enough starting pitchers. Closers. I'll find them. And Boggs, after Jeff McNeil, you have Mr. Irrelevant. Who was your last selection there?
It was going to be Jeff McNeil, believe it or not, but I went ahead with Brooks Lee since he was
Okay, there you go. That's solid here. So B+ for me. I figured I went off track with some of the suggestions. I was not going to win this draft, but let's see what the full analysis says for everybody. Scott Bogman, what was the grade that you were given here on the back end?
Ooh, 92.
Oh, very
Second.
good. Very good, but not good enough because number one is the first lady of fantasy baseball,
Of course.
Kelly Kirby. Let's go. 96. Kelly, you crushed it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the experts that liked your draft, what the back end comments were, and what you, dare I say, could have done better because it doesn't seem like anything considering you won the draft.
Well, I mean, you hated it. Mayor hated it. I'm like, I'm winning this. But no, Andy Behrens, I play in the Towers League with him. He's probably the nicest guy, and he likes my draft more than anyone else. And I'm just like, I'm good with that. So it really actually, and the draft analyzer really liked my Bobby Witt, Jazz Chisholm pair up top. So
nice. That's a good pairing here. We're going to get to the breakdowns real quick here. I know we're running long, but look, you're having fun. You're watching a mock draft baseball show. So there's winners and losers, and don't get caught on the wrong side of that line. Bruce Springsteen said that once in a song. And Joe Orrico, you got caught on the wrong side of that line. You came in 12th. And I think it's because you went a little too dynasty heavy here. Your thoughts on building your dynasty team in this redraft draft?
Joe does that to me in football too, Joe. So don't. Pisapia does that to me. Is what
I don't
should say
understand the insult though. What is dynasty? I like Connor Griffin for sure, but
Well,
if
I
we're
mean,
gonna
look,
go
you
through
got to
these
play for
teams-
this year. You got a lot of young talent, but young talent sometimes takes a little while in the pressure cooker. You know,
Well, we
ask
go
all those
through the
Dylan
roster.
Cruz drafters. You know,
Insult.
I want to hear when we go through what I messed up on here according to you guys, because I have the two lockdown closers. I have a very strong offensive base with power and speed. I have at least 3, if not 4, really dependable starting pitchers. Draft Wizards out to lunch. I'm gonna say it.
the dev team's coming
Hey,
for
you know what?
That's it.
Mayor and Bogman like that, and top 10 rankers. I believe Mayor's like
Mayor and
3 or 4 years in a
Bogman did
row.
like it. Chris
Yeah, but
Powers
Mayor
liked
also
it.
hated Kelly's draft. So,
You guys who don't like my draft,
But he
don't
liked mine.
well, you know who liked mine more than anybody? The Welsh.
Who's that?
Which is odd.
Ah,
Like that is a very
cares?
odd one for me to get. Expert opinion. So the Welsh liked it more than anybody else, and of course I liked it. Andy Behrens also liked mine. Thumbs down though. Mike Mayer, Ariel Cohen, Chris Towers, and Kelly Kirby. So there you go. That sounds about right. All right, let's run through it again. What's so great is in the back end, you can see all of the assessments, all the expert opinions, all the rankings. It'll tell you, you know, if you, like for me, what if I took Kyle Tucker at 2-1? Again, I could have. I wanted to experiment with taking the corners, and I kind of like how it ended up. But taking Tucker certainly would have moved me up a couple spots there, and I finished 5th, which is not bad here. I knew I'd get dinged too, because some of them I reached for Roman Anthony, I reached for a couple of guys there, but I did get some steals too. Sal Stewart, Helio Ramos, they were the steals here for me. So let's go through Joe Orrico's disappointing team and see what really becomes of it. Ben Rice at catcher is where they have him. Michael Bush, Bryce Terang, Trey Turner, Jose Ramirez, Matt Chapman, Connor Griffin, Churio, Luis Robert, Brian Reynolds, Barger, Abreu, and then the starting pitchers, Reagans, Kirby, Devin Williams, Palencia, then Gossman, King, Edward Cabrera, Hurston Waldrop, Logan Henderson. The bench is Ober, Ashcraft, Lopez, Cavalli, Caglione. Kelly, what's your assessment of Joe's team? Where is the deficit? Because to me, it's a little bit thin in the offense in terms of like just I think we're threading the needle with a couple guys here. One too many.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I saw that as well. Like, there's just a few that I thought he maybe reached on, or like, I don't know if Draft Wizard knows what to do with like Connor Griffin. But I also thought that that he's got some questionable pitchers, like where he reached, and I think it's more, again, he didn't reach, but I think that Draft Wizard doesn't understand the upside of some of these guys, and so he got knocked for it.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about Scott Bogman. Actually, we'll do my team. We'll work our way up. Francisco Alvarez, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Ozzy Albies, Mookie Betts, Junior Caminero, Torkelson, Bo Bichette, Roman Anthony, Stowers, Pajes, Helio Ramos, Sal Stewart, and then the pitching staff. I love this pitching staff, Freddie, especially in a head-to-head. Freddie Peralta, Blake Snell, Spencer Strider, Nick Lodolo, Gavin Williams, Mackenzie Gore, Carlos Rodon, then Zach Gowen and Kodai Senga on the bench. The relievers, Walker and Manaya for now. Then you have Andrew Vaughn, Moniak, Arzuna, and Senga. Bogman, since you didn't have any expert opinions come up, what's your expert opinion on my draft?
I don't like your pitching staff like you do. I don't. I mean, look, I love Freddie, and I really like I'm hoping that the training wheels off approach works for him with the Mets, but he has been injury prone. Blake Snell already has a shoulder thing going on. Spencer Strider has had injury things. So is Lodolo. I think there's easy holes to poke in that a little bit, but I really do like the lineup. I think the lineup is a killer here. All right. The hitting side.
All right, so I wasn't expecting that. I love the pitching. Bogman hates it. So there you go. It's a love and hate show here today. Let's talk about Scott Bogman's team. Pretty good, but not good enough. Gabriel Moreno, Pete Alonso, Ketel Marte, Jeremy Pena, Jordan Westberg, Christian Walker, Jorge Polanco, Wyatt Langford, Marseille, Rafaela, Anthony Santander, Shohei Ohtani. He's pretty good at baseball. Then Hunter Green, Schwellenbach, Yuri Perez, Emmett Sheehan, Boz, Merrill Kelly, Casey Mize, Jansen, and Duran as the closers. Then Beck, O'Hearn, Brooks Lee, Cody Ponce, and Vodnik at the end. Orrico, your thoughts on Bogman's squad?
I think it's a good team.
I
think
it
it's
too.
Really, really balanced.
Especially that Schwellenbach pick.
Like offensively, I can't really poke many holes offensively. Christian Walker is kind of like, at this point, could he fall off a cliff? I don't really know what to expect from him this year, but if that's the weakest part of your offense, I think you're doing pretty well. Schwellenbach is just unfortunate timing. There's nothing you can do about that. But the rest of your pitching staff is really solid. There's a lot of great upside. You want to talk about the dynasty team here, Joe? Yuri Perez, Emmett Sheehan, Schwellenbach. But it's a great group mixed in with the safer guys like the Merrill Kellys. I think Casey Mize feels pretty safe. And, Cody Ponce, I worry a little bit, but my worries are more about year 2, year 3, year 4. Usually in year 1, whether it's Merrill Kelly, whether it's Eric Fetty, even Miles Michaelis in year 1, they come back, they've adjusted a couple things, and they have success. So I'm a fan of Boggs' team. I really am.
All right. And then, of course, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Kelly Kirby, the Iowa catcher, Vinny Pasquantino, Jazz Chisholm, Bobby Witt, Austin Riley, Alec Burleson, Tovar, Riley Green, Teoscar Hernandez, Lawrence Butler, Stephen Kwan, Profar. And then the pitching, Sanchez, Joe Ryan, Aroldis Chapman, Santana, Noel McLean, Eovaldi, Rasmussen, McClanahan, Bryce Miller, the bench, Carpenter, Lopez, DeLauder, Ian Seymour, Robert Garcia. Kelly, I think it's a really solid team. I think you won, those first 2 picks put you, and even the Riley Green pick, you got a lot of guys who give you the 5 categories. And I think that really kind of pushed you over the top. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think those first few rounds for me, where they were all kind of sitting in that 30 home run range, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, up till the 7th round, I took Pasquantino. I mean, like any of that whole group can hit 30, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Good times here.
And also,
well done, everybody.
Beating all of you is my favorite thing in the world.
Well, look, we expect it. Look, you're first lady of fantasy baseball. I mean, come on. I mean, what's better than that?
I feel like you focus more when I'm in these mocks too.
You know what? Well, last time I won, this time Kelly won. So Bogman and Orrico, I'm just saying, gotta start doing some extra mock drafts with the simulator. See what I did there? There's the plug. So we appreciate you watching on our Twitch. Make sure you follow us there, subscribe there as well, so you can get rid of those nasty commercials, and subscribe to our podcast feed and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fantasy Bros MLB. This is a great exercise, a great opportunity to hang out, have some fun. but also give you some insight into roster construction too, and my approach versus Kelly's versus Joe's versus Scott's, all different in different ways and from different draft spots in the order too, which is very helpful. We're here to help you have the best drafts you can in 2026. Great times as always, and shout out to our producers too, Michael Callie and Seth Dywald, for making everything work today. We appreciate you guys being on with us. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Kelly Kirby, Joe Orrico, Scott Bogman, I'm Spencer Schwellenbach. We'll see you next time, kids. Oh, my elbow! Oh, it hurts. Oh, my shoulder. Oh, I can't go on with this mock. I can't click my mouse anymore.
Scott Bogman is about to draft you.
Oh, 60 AIL. Here I come. Brutal timing. I mean, literally 2 minutes earlier.
Oh my God.
2 minutes earlier.